OK, let's sort out the world now with Gemma Tognini on the desk with me here from GT Communications Gemma, and Caroline Darisso, host of the Royal Report, joins us from Perth. Hey, Caroline, cash. The federal government's going to save us from the demise of cash. Do you think it's important to make sure we can still use cash around the place?
Well, you speak to my cultural soul when you talk about cash, Chris. So, of course, I'm always going to be in favour of it. And obviously, when you go into a business and you pay with cash, you know, the banks aren't taking a clip on the way through. And I know there's been plenty of discussion around things like merchant fees. So I think we should always be able to use cash. People should be able to choose. But the other side to this coin is that we still need to be able to take it out from the bank. So it's one thing ensuring that businesses allow people to use cash, but you know, they can't use cash if they have trouble accessing it. So we still need to make sure that people can get a hold of it.
Yeah, they're actually bank branches. I don't know whether they call them branches or offices now. Some of them don't have cash. I mean, you go and see the bank and you can't get cash. Here's what Jim Chalmers says about it.
We're making sure that people can pay cash for essentials if they want to and if they need to. You know, cash can be a really important lifeline. It can be an important backup. It gives people peace of mind.
Yeah, Gemma, I thought a lot of us were under the impression that they had to accept legal tender anyway, but I mean...
Well, my understanding of the law, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you don't accept cash, there needs to be a sign so that you can advise. I was getting a coffee this morning in the city and I went to pay with cash and they said, well, we don't take cash. And because I was in a hurry, I didn't argue with them. Part of me is cynical in the sense that, like Caroline, it speaks to my ethnic soul. My nonna buried money in the garden like generations of Italians did, but it feels a little bit like a diversion to me. Like, you know, if I was more cynical than I like to be, I'd be like, well, what good is preserving cash if people can't pay their bills anymore?
Oh, yeah. Help with the cost of living first.
It's a moot point. It seems to me a really odd policy issue for this government to try and prosecute at this time. It's like, hey, everything's burning down over there, but hey, we're going to give you your cash. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Everything they're doing at the moment is a little sort of insta-push for sort of populist votes, I think. Let's just have a look at what Jason Clare, the Education Minister, has had to say about the Middle East.
You can't bomb your way to peace. You know, I think the last 12 months have shown us that. You know, the bombing has killed tens of thousands of people in Gaza, in Lebanon, you know, more than 1,000 people murdered in Israel as well. And what this is about is building momentum to a two-state solution. You know, we need to end the killing and start the talking.
Just a quick hit on this, Gemma, because we can't spend all night on it, but bombing your way to peace, I mean, you're defending yourself and trying to get rid of terrorists.
What this is about politics and nothing more. And respectfully, Minister Clare should be ashamed of that comment. It is populist, it is inaccurate, and it is so disrespectful to the Israeli people who have a right to defend themselves. And if you don't think you can bomb your way to peace, well, World War II says hello, Minister.
Yeah, spot on. Now, I want to go to something slightly more flippant here, Caroline, and get your input on it, because there's a survey about why blokes in particular like red meat. And, you know, I thought it's because it tastes great and it goes very well with a glass of South Australian red. But apparently it's all about we're conditioned to crave red meat because it adds to our masculinity and our sexual prowess. Have you got any, you know, evidence through friends and others to back up this claim? Where do you stand on this one, Caro?
I feel like this is some really, you know, strained narrative framing. If you say, do you think that eating red meat gives you lots of energy? Do you feel like, you know, that you don't snack as much and whatever? Well, then, yeah, it does. And it'll come to no surprise to the people watching this show that I'm a huge meat eater. And when you have a really good substantive meal, you do have good energy. I mean, it's been framed like this because, you know, men are all terrible. And if blokes are around having a barbecue together, well, then they must be planning some sort of terrible sexist revolution. So it's the idea that meat is good for you, yes. The idea that it's some toxic male trait is just horse manure.
There's a lot in that, isn't there?
There's peak Melbourne, though. I mean, at least they're on brand. You've got to give it to them. They're on brand. I mean, Look, I tried to be a vegetarian once. I lasted 48 hours.
my youngest son, you know, he decided he was going to be a vegetarian. He lasted about 20 minutes.
Oh, I can imagine
because next stop after leaving the farm was Bunnings, and he fell in for the sausage. And apparently there's a rumour there's some meat in some of those sausages sometimes. I've got to share with you both and with you all this clip that's going viral a bit at the moment. Relates to Donald Trump, and firstly this comment from the defeated vice presidential candidate Tim Walz.
All the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong, the one thing that I will not forgive them for is they're trying to steal the joy from this country.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Wait a minute, all right. They're taking the joy out of the country. Let's have a look at what Donald Trump seems to be doing to joy.
Trump's iconic dance moves are sweeping the internet and winning him a lot of fans across the globe.
Young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy.
Talk about toxic masculinity, Carrie. He's come up with a dance that every man can actually do.
Yeah, correct, because most people can actually manage that level of rhythm, even all the white guys in America. So, you know, well done. But who knew? Who knew how much fun life could be when you're dancing to 70s music and not self-immolating under your virtue signalling? I mean, who knew?
Who knew we'd be doing Village People as a political story in 2024?
I'm here for it. This year has served up a whole bunch of weird and wonderful things in my life. So I feel like this is, again, very much on brand.
Yeah, they're killing off Christmas, so come back with the Village People and YMCA.
I only have one dance move. I may as well add another one.
That's it. I can do that. I can do that. Thanks for joining us, Caroline and Gemma. We'll catch you again next week.